What's up, everybody? Welcome back for another exciting episode of Switch Talk 2, the perfectly pocket-sized podcast for lovers of this amazing hybrid console that has stolen our hearts and minds, the Switch 2. You're here, I'm here, and I'm here with my best buds, Clay and David, and we're going to talk about the Nintendo Partner Direct that was shown on July 31st, 2025. This is notable because we're starting to see third-party games come to the console, what's going to hit, what hotly anticipated IPs and franchises are finally going to come. There was all this talk about the dev kits not going out, like it seemed kind of dry. On the first-party side, we are kicking it, like we are rocking and rolling. We're all addicted to Donkey Kong Bonanza. We're like having fun. I've recently said that I do not regret my Switch 2 purchase at all, but this was important for us. I mean, everyone is kind of chomping at the bit. What are they going to show? What are they going to show? We're going to talk about it. I'm going to get right into starting with a rundown. Just really quick, one sentence about everything that was shown. And then I have some questions for everybody to kind of unpack this. And we're going to grade this sucker. We're going to say letter grade on this Partner Direct. And we are not going to pull any punches. All right, first up, Octopath Traveler 0. It's coming to Switch and Switch 2. This one is going to feature a customizable protagonist, which is interesting, and 8 characters, turn-based battles. So I don't know how that's going to work because I did see at the end of the trailer or one snippet that there were a lot of characters on screen, not just like the traditional 4-player party. Monster Hunter Stories 3 Twisted Reflection is coming to Switch 2. Interesting for those who like Monster Hunter, the spin-off Stories series. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment coming to Switch 2. Look cool. Mushu style, kind of in the... What's the name of the most famous one? The dragon, not dragon, where you attack a bunch of enemies, waves of enemies in these open battlefields. What's the key franchise? You guys...
Dynasty Warriors.
Dynasty Warriors like game. Persona 3 Reload is coming to Switch 2. Remake of Persona 3, which I've played just recently on Xbox Game Pass. Once Upon a Katamari coming to Switch, and later at some point to Switch 2. People love Katamari, the role game. Chronos, The New Dawn is coming to Switch 2. Psychological horror survival title from Blooper Team. And then we have Star Wars Outlaws, a port coming to Switch 2. Very interesting. I actually must have blinked or looked away from my screen and missed this, so you guys might have to fill me in on that one. Apex Legends, come to Switch 2. Let's go. Switch 1, the Switch 1 version of Apex Legends is unplayable. We love Apex Legends. We tried to play it on Switch 1, and it was butt. You couldn't get past 2 minutes of gameplay. Pac-Man World 2 Repack coming to Switch and Switch 2. A remake of the PS2 era platforming classic. Goodnight Universe is coming to Switch and Switch 2, an emotionally driven indie title launching November 11th. Notable for the blink and you miss it reveal capturing attention. I've heard of this before. I wonder if it's the exact same game that is supposedly makes you cry when you play it because it just tugs at your heartstrings. Not sure. EA Sports FC 26 coming to Switch and Switch 2. Soccer Sim, notable for EA's flagship football game. EA Sports Madden NFL 26 coming to Switch 2. For those of you who play the EA Sports games, huge. Football's huge in America. Final Fantasy Tactics The Evilist Chronicles coming to Switch and Switch 2. HD Remastered, that tactical RPG goodness. I've started the game many times, but never played it all the way through. It's a huge game. Plants vs. Zombies Replanted coming to Switch and Switch 2. Let's go. Updated version of the beloved tower defense game due October 23rd. Yakuza Kiwami 1 and 2 coming to Switch 2. Remastered Japanese crime drama dropping on November 13th. People love these Yakuza games. Adventures of Elliot, The Millennium Tales, one of the 2 games to close out the show, coming to Switch 2. Notable for the HD 2D And I think this was the action one where you were around on the battlefield
Mm-hmm.
in real time battling instead of turn based, which is cool. Chilling by the Fire coming to Switch 2, a cozy indie experience that Shadow dropped today that is just you making a fire and roasting marshmallows. Romancing Saga 2 Revenge of the Sevens coming to Switch 2. This is the Switch 2 edition. It's a port of the classic Sega JRPG that was a shadow drop. Shinobi Art of Vengeance coming to Switch. Retro style ninja action platformer coming August 29th. Very stylish for people who love Shinobi. Sure, they'll love that. And then NBA Bounce coming to Switch. Arcade style basketball game coming September 26th. There may be some that we're missing, but that was the chunk of it. That was the chungus of it. So I'm gonna give it over since I've spoke plenty about the recap. I'm gonna give it to none other than David Jones. Because David, I would like to know what was the highlight of this partner direct for you? What was the thing that you were like, yes, let's go?
Well, I think it depends on how you look at it.
Here we go.
Yes, there is some good.
Professor, speaking with your head and not
Yeah.
your heart.
Yes, there. Yeah, because I mean, I'll be honest. There was nothing that really was like, oh my gosh, I have to play this. But there's a reason for that,
I
and,
agree.
and
I
that's
agree.
because most of the best titles I had already played on other platforms.
Yeah.
So, but that being
Ports.
said,
Yeah, I hear you.
if you are coming from the Switch, if you're a Switch only, like, user, you haven't really been dabbling in some of these games, there is actually quite a bit here um, for you. I think the highlight, so let's assuming you haven't played any of these games before, you don't own anything else, you're coming from Nintendo. I think Star Wars Outlaws is probably the highlight of what was shown. I had a lot of fun with that game on PS5, and it looks like a very decent port. Like it doesn't. I'm not looking at that, and it doesn't look like oh my gosh, this is a huge downgrade. I'm sure it's not as good as like other consoles and PCs visually, but like it looks good enough, I think, for you to experience the game for what it is, and I definitely highly recommend that. Um, the other one, of course, would be Persona 3 Reload, which, while it's probably my least favorite of the modern personas, it's still great that it's coming, and it gives me a lot of hope that we are going to get Metaphor eventually, which is a game that I think I would have been way more excited to see in this, because I deliberately held off getting that on other platforms because I felt like Switch 2 is just around the corner. A huge JRPG would be great for it. So, still waiting for that, but the fact that Atlas is doing a really good job supporting stuff thus far. They've even, I can't remember the name of that other game. They had a game out at launch too, but it seems like Sega / Atlas and everything is going to be one of the biggest supporters right out the gate of Switch. So that was good
I agree. Yeah.
news. But yeah, as I
It's
said, wasn't anything here. These partner directs, I feel like, are the less headline driven directs. It's like a lot of stuff that you might have played before. If there's something really, really, really big, they're probably going to throw it into one of their first party directs, and they know more people are watching.
it's interesting because Atlas, like, there's a no shortage of JRPGs on this system. We see that even in this partner direct. Like, there's RPGs that are just, they're coming, they're here, they're on the horizon. We know what's coming. But I agree with you that Metaphor ReFantazio would be really good to have been shown. And I kind of don't like that now that we're seeing, Pez, then if they follow the traditional slow trickle, then will come Golden in a year, and then will come Persona 5 in a year, and then then they'll, it's just they always do this with
Mm-hmm.
a slow trickle of, here we'll give them the oldest game, then we'll give them another one, and like it's mind-boggling sometimes how they trickle the content out. But I agree. I think Star Wars Outlaws is a decently good big game, and a lot of people point to Cyberpunk as saying the Switch 2 is very capable. It's the
Mm-hmm.
little engine that could. So if it can make that look good, it makes it seem like this is possible to like run well. Clay, what was the highlight for you? What is the game that got you most excited?
Plants vs Zombies. Just
Yeah.
Silly to
You
say, but
you stole mine. It's not silly. It's an awesome game.
yeah, I've played this game so many times. I've downloaded or purchased it so many times. I own it like on every console that you can pretty much play it on. But I'm hopeful. They didn't say anything about mouse controls, but I'm really hoping those are on there because this game doesn't play as great with a controller. Plays great with touch controls or with a mouse. Because you just got to be able to like click on things around the thing real fast and grab the suns out of the air, and so it's not super great. And so as soon as they started announcing it, I was already very excited. Like, okay, I will definitely buy this again. But then when they said they're like high definite and putting it into 16 by 9 and adding some things and stuff, I was very excited about that. I'm curious to see if they add a whole lot or if it's just making it look a little bit nicer and sending it back out. But regardless, I will buy this game again. It's like Minecraft. It's like some of those other games where no matter how many times they put it out, I will continue to buy it. And so even just up resing it a little bit makes me very excited. So I'm super stoked about that one. I also want to give an honorable mention to Hyrule Warriors. Looks pretty good. I never played the second one. I probably should do that. I did play the first one though, but the new one looks really good. Also, that mouse game where you run around as mice and do different things, I thought that actually looked pretty good too. And I like that it had multiplayer. It looked like something maybe the three of us could play and have a good time playing. I need to see more about it or see a review before I'd probably want to. And I don't know how much it costs. Maybe it's a cheap game. It looks like a $10 game that maybe I'd be interested in trying. But yeah, so those were the things that I thought were my favorites.
So you're gonna steal all my thunder because even your backup was my backup. Your honorable mention is
Oh,
my honorable
sorry.
mention. So I'm just gonna piggyback off that and say, I mean, Plants vs Zombies is incredibly addicting. I played the hell out of it. It released in 2009, so it's going to be like 15, 16 years or
It's
whatever
crazy.
since this came out. And I just feel like the gameplay will hold up. I didn't even think about what control scheme it was going to use because I did, play it on iOS or whatever. So, yeah, very interesting. The one thing that I didn't like is they talked about couch co-op being included, which to me, because they were very adamant about it and didn't mention it, means they probably won't have online co-op. Could you imagine me being hyped for it and you being hyped for it if we could play together? Like that'd be crazy. But
Yeah.
Nintendo doesn't do things like that. They can't figure it out. They don't have the technology somehow in the year of our Lord
I
2025.
mean, this game's not
Um,
developed by Nintendo, but
oh,
it's
okay.
okay.
So the jury's out on you know how much newness is going to be in there, but I did peek at the price and I believe it was 20 bucks or less. So that's what it's going to come out as, which is like huge. So Plants vs Zombies Replants is my number 1, and same like you, number 2 was going to be the Hyrule Warriors game, and it's great. I played the demo on Switch 1 for the other Hyrule Warriors, and it doesn't. The reason I didn't pull the trigger, even though I really liked the demo, was the performance is kind of terrible. There's a lot happening on screen. It's all about flashy animations and being overpowered and unleashing like death on like tens of enemies at a time, and that's really good. If I had a third place runner up, I don't know. I want to be excited for like some of these JRPGs. Like I like the look of the HD 2D stuff. I didn't realize at first that the story of Pablo, or what is it called, the HD 2D game that closed out the show. I didn't realize that it was action. Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales. I don't know why they have such a long name to
It's a
this thing,
terrible name.
but it's time travel, HD 2D visual style, and it looks like it's an action on the overworld at least, which is pretty cool. So I would say that that's my runner up if you had to twist my
Yeah.
arm about it. I wish I like Shinobi more because that looked great
Dude,
visually.
that does look good.
Yeah.
Like visually, like I would like to watch someone play that maybe, or if it had, if it was beginner friendly in some way, then maybe, I could jump on board there. I'm looking for low lights here, and I'll start because it makes me upset that Dragon Ball, I don't even think it made our top 20 of the show rundown, but Dragon Ball has another fighting game coming out, and it's gotten to the point where it actually makes me upset every time that I see a Dragon Ball fighting game. I'm not sure why. Like, I know, hey, it's for you. Let people have their fun, but I can't stop myself. I'm the old curmudgeon on the French port saying, like, get off my lawn. Does this bother you guys at all? That these Dragon Ball fighting games, like, this is like the 59th time that they've made this game, and I guess people are buying it because they keep releasing it on everything. What's your low light, Clay?
Yeah, so I like Dragon Ball. I don't buy a ton of the games, but I do have Fighter Z, Dragon Ball Fighter Z, I think is what it is on the
This one's
Switch.
called Sparkling What? No, Sparkling Zero. Sparkling
Um,
Zero.
that's what the new one is.
Sounds refreshing.
Sparking Zero.
Sparking
Dragon Ball
Zero.
Sparking Zero.
Um, and so I don't know. Yeah, there's probably too many of them, but it's such a cool series, and there's so many episodes and so many characters. I'm sure there's like really good ones and not so good ones, and yeah, they probably could like chill out, but I don't know. I like to think that maybe they're coming up with new creative ways to play these games. Like this one they talked about today, you can like pick characters and pick a storyline and kind of act out your own scene. You can even do like alternate like endings to things that we already like have seen, and so they're coming up with new unique ways, and so I'm sure the diehards are stoked, and so for them, like, I'm happy, and I get why they keep making them. They have to be making them money or they wouldn't keep doing them, so I'm sure it's working to some degree. But I feel like if you're a casual fan like I am, you could just buy one of these every 10 or so years just to kind of see what the updated graphics are like, and then move on with your life.
This features over 180 playable characters, and it says that it goes through iconic moments from the Dragon Ball franchise. Like, I've played these games like here and there. I can't recall which one because they all blend together, but you can replay like the show and like the key moments and the story modes and stuff like that. But it unless I'm missing something, I think it's just the same stuff. Like, you can't like rewrite history. I don't think. But anyway, I looked it up here, and it says that there have been over 30 Dragon Ball fighting games released since the 1980s. The exact
Wow.
count depends on what you define as the fighting games, because there's like the spit-offs. There's head-to-head fighters, arena battlers, tag team games, etc. So that's a lot
Hmm.
to me. David, which game did you look at with this direct and were like, why are they making this? Why did they waste time in this partner direct like this? Which is what was not for you?
Um, Probably the EA Sports titles, either Madden or FIFA.
Yeah.
Like those, I have no interest in those just boring, non-arcadey sports sims. I just don't think they're fun. Like, and I can enjoy some sports games. Like, I still go back and play like NFL Blitz or Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey or some of those old games like that, or NBA Jam. But like these sports sims, I don't know. They're not for me. I don't get it. They're too realistic, too
Man,
boring.
when was the last time we saw an arcade like a Blitz title or like NBA Jam? They've done some knockoff like NBA Jam stuff. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't count this latest basketball NBA bounce thing. It looked like more for kids, but those arcade sports games are very fun. I agree. And I also agree. I'm just like not jazzed. Like, I guess some people it's like, who's this for? I feel like people buy the premium console to play their
No,
NBA, NFL, FIFA. They buy the console once a year. They buy 3 sports games. Like, that's the old
I don't.
story,
I don't think
right?
necessarily. There's a. I mean, the Switch sold so many units to casuals, and I think there's a good chunk of those people who maybe bought them for their kids, and the only game that they play is themselves is Madden. So
Oh,
I do
yeah,
think there's a
sure.
market there. Like, I
Oh
don't
yeah.
think the people who only play Madden are necessarily going to also be shelling out for the newest shiny toys, the most powerful, systems or whatever. Though obviously the Switch 2 is not cheap, but there's
Clay,
clearly a
you
market for them.
Clay,
Yeah.
you have a neck beard. Do you like Madden?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't played it since like 2001, I think. So
Like, I haven't played it in a long time.
yeah, I'm more of a
Um
Blitz guy for sure.
Now, the most intriguing or like surprising game, kind of like left field for me was the Katamari game. Now, I didn't see and I don't see anything in here that said that this is really fresh. It's coming to Switch and sometime later to Switch 2, which is a huge missed opportunity to me. But I was expecting something like, oh, this is super unique in this way, like a very quirky, hey, like we're going to utilize the Switch 2 tech, but they're not because it's a Switch 1 title coming later to Switch 2. So that's what surprised me about it because I'm like, this could have been a hit. This could have been one of those quirky, like out of left field games that kind of captured people. I like these games. I have fun with them. I was just playing. I think one was on Xbox Game Pass recently. I just feel like it's a missed opportunity. Kind of, they didn't promote it in any way to say, here's the new feature, or here's like a story bit, or now it's set here, or something like that. It just seemed like more of the same. And I didn't know, I felt like this is like a bad thing for a franchise or an IP like this. How about you, David? Anything surprise you? Anything out of left field?
Wouldn't say out of left field, but I think the most interesting looking thing was probably talked about it a little bit already with the Adventures of Elliot. I think it
Hmm.
is the first game in that style to not be a turn-based RPG,
Hmm. Hmm.
which I'm not
Hmm.
always in the mood for because sometimes those games are they're good. I grew up playing a lot of turn-based games and I loved them, but I also have way less free time now. And so I've had Octopath Traveler 2 for like years at this point and still haven't really dived into it because it's such a time sink with the random battles. So this game just looks it's got that great, absolutely brilliant art direction that I like, but like actually having gameplay that's a little bit more accessible for people with limited time. I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is another 100-hour RPG for all I know, but just in my experience, JRPGs that are more action oriented usually, even if they take a long time, it just at least doesn't feel like you're wasting time because you're not getting interrupted by random battles constantly. So we'll have to see how it goes. But
Hmm.
I think that was the most surprising thing there. Everything else was fairly either something we've seen before reported or fairly standard, predictable stuff.
Yeah, you're dead inside if these HD 2D titles don't like stir something up in you
Mhm.
because they are great. Like when you're playing them in motion, when you're releasing like magic attacks or you're just witnessing the towns and just everything come together, these visuals are just magical. I mean, we got
Mhm.
Octopath Traveler 1 and 2. We were just talking about these games in the Megadads Discord. Go ahead and check it out. I think there's a link in the description of the YouTube video. Triangle Strategy, Live Alive, Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D remake, and then we have Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D remake coming, and then now we have this Elliot game or whatever. So yeah, these games are visually fantastic. Anything out of left field or surprising for you, Clay, where you're like, what?
Well, yes. For me, the thing that I thought was the most odd would definitely have to be the bonfire game.
Chilling by the
Um,
fire.
Chilling by the fire. I thought it looked. It started out okay, and I was like, all right, this is kind of cool. I liked the kind of the physics and the building of the fire. But then the more I watched it, I was like, nope, that's pretty much it. Like it doesn't go much further than that. And they even like were like, you can add your webcams and like have friends around the fire. And I was just like, this is stupid. And so that one I was like at the beginning I was like, okay, this might be cool, like add some cooking or some other like survival mechanics, but it's not that. And I get that it's supposed to be like a chill game and it's supposed to be something you do and relax, but I just thought it was really dumb. And the fact that that was our shadow drop for the day kind of pissed me off. It's only $15, so I guess the
Mhm.
price is makes sense for it, but we could download it and buy it, and we'd probably play it once and then never boot it up
Mhm.
again. It's just it's stupid. Maybe we could do our podcast in there, and that would be cool. But
There
other
you
than
go.
that, like it looks pretty stupid to me.
Like they had the little clip in there where you utilize the camera and you're like, you can see your friends' faces, and it immediately like made me upset. Like it's supposed to be like cozy, and I got those vibes after you kind of saw it for a while. You could tell that the game was very thin, not a whole lot of depth there. But then once you saw the faces, I was like, why am I upset at this gimmick? But it just didn't seem like it would work out. But again, maybe I'm just angry today. They do say there's a normal mode where you grow your campfire and manage, uh, and you try to get to campfire level 10, and a survival mode, limited firewood supply forces careful planning to maintain the flame. And then up to 4 players can compete or cooperate. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
what the hell is this game? I'm not gonna pay 14.99 for this. Like, if anything, I don't know. They could have added this to the Nintendo online, like, hey, free game with subscription thing, and I think that would have been
right,
pretty cool because it's like, hey, it uses some Switch 2 features. You know
right.
what? Like, be happy about this, and you gotta love the available now. I love the shadow drops. The available now, like during E3 season or basically anytime you're watching a presentation, is like a-okay by me. I just love having something available now. Yeah, it's a shame that this was one of the two, unfortunately, that were the available now. To wrap it up here, we do want to give a letter grade to the partner direct. So we'll go A to F. What do you give the direct letter grade style, Clay?
So I'll start with my most surprising game shown today, and that was Apex Legends.
Oh, what did I not get your surprising game?
You skipped me on one part earlier,
Whoops.
and I've just been trying to catch up. Was Apex Legends? I thought they were just going to kill that game on the Switch. Like you mentioned earlier, Tony, that game is just unplayable in its current state. Uh, but I love Apex, and I have an embarrassing amount of hours in it. I looked the other day, and I think it was 149 days I've played that game.
149 days?
It's ridiculous. And so I like it a lot, and I play it every day. And Steam Deck recently, Apex took away Linux support for Apex, and so it's no longer playable on the Steam Deck. Not that I played it on there very often, but I always had that as an option because that's just a way more comfortable way to play. And I tried it on the Switch, and it just never worked. But maybe now it'll be a little more playable. It's the only way to play portable at this point, even though the Joy Cons with a first person shooter is pretty rough. And so I don't know, maybe they'll add mouse support and maybe it'll become more playable. I don't know. But I was just surprised to see it. I assumed they were just eventually going to discontinue it and get rid of it. So the fact that they're updating it makes me happy. Hopefully it will bring in some new players, and hopefully it'll bring in some little kids, little elementary school kids that I can just pwn from my
That
Xbox.
you can
And
pound on because they have their Switches
yeah,
and
and
they're
I
like,
can feel I
oh,
can feel really good about myself for destroying a bunch of little kids.
Or what if they
yeah.
destroy
So
you?
yeah, and then maybe they'll serve me up some humble pie
Yep.
myself. David might have mentioned this earlier, and he said it in the chat to us. These are the kind of directs where we get all excited about them, and then we watch them, and we're kind of disappointed in them. It's always that way. It's a bunch of random games that they try to kind of compile, and so people are going to be excited about things, and they're not going to be excited about things. So I get it. It's not for everybody. All the JRPGs are snorefests to me, but they're really exciting to other people, so that's great. And so overall, it was a decent run, but I've seen better third-party directs from Nintendo, so I gave it a C.
A C. That's surprisingly low. Usually you bump it up a little bit of a Nintendo push. I will give it a yeah, I'll give it a C minus. It was weak sauce. It was weak sauce. Like because I was gonna give it a C, but I'm like, wait a second. You usually bump it up. I must have some type of rose tinted glasses on here. Um, the the fact that I'm not certain that I'm gonna get even 2 of these games is enough for me to be like, okay, in net, I didn't have too much interest. Like, and a lot of these are remakes of 15-year-old. Like, I got a remake of a 15-year-old game that I'm dying to play, Plants vs Zombies. I could play it right now if I wanted to, like non HD or whatever. Okay, so letter grade for you, David.
Um, I'm gonna go with C plus. I think so. I'll be a little bit higher than you guys, but not by much. So I do think it was still like, even though this one wasn't particularly exciting, I do think it still gave me optimism because we're starting to see more and more stuff trickle in, more things being ported. Um, I don't think, as I said, I don't think we're ever going to see the most exciting third-party games in a partner direct like this. But we do seeing the ball rolling a little bit. We see Sega getting even more support, which is one of the ones I care about. Square Enix and like Capcom. So there's a lot of big publishers like showing their support here and signing on, and I think that's a good hopeful outlook for the future of Switch. It really just came out, and if the rumors about them getting development kits are really late are true, um, I wouldn't have expected a ton for this one. It's been like a couple months since it came out, so um, but yeah, it was fine.
A lot of people online are kind of upset that there were games even that were coming to Switch 1 and like, oh, like we're going to stop for a second and explain that some of these games are Switch 1, some are 1 and 2, some are 1 now but 2 at some point later. They're like, let it die. Like we just spent all this money on this new console. Like it's our time. Like we need stuff that is new. That's what we were expecting. And I can understand that. Uh Again, people, I mean, we dropped a significant amount of money,
Yeah,
and it's like, why are we? I mean, I understand they have an install base, but come
yeah.
on, like, sell your new system.
That's
So
that's how it always is, though. For every launch ever, even back, even back in the olden days and stuff like the Super Nintendo, the PS2 came out. They supported the old ones, and this has backwards compatibility, so you can still play them. And the fact is, the matter is, you can't go into a store and buy a Switch 2 right now, and you probably will have stock issues for like the good year or so. So it's kind of unrealistic to me to expect them just to suddenly stop making Switch games until it becomes the install base gets big enough and that you can actually go out to the store and buy one whenever you want one, which isn't the case right now. So I don't know. People should just stop crying. That's the moral of the story.
there were a lot of people that were saying, "Where's the that damn Silk Song game?" And just the sentiment in general was lukewarm. And again, like you said, not surprising.
Yeah,
We'll see if Nintendo does a first party direct pretty soon. We're on the fence here within our little podcast group as far as is there going to be a holiday game, something big that has not been talked about, announced, something coming out of left field. And we'll talk about that, I'm sure, on an upcoming episode of Switch Talk 2. We will join you again next time, everybody, talking about this great console. We're playing Donkey Kong. They are forcing me, my best buds here, to just get through the game, not be a collecting completionist about it, and just get down to the lower levels, to the core. And I'm trying because we are going to do a spoiler cast on there soon, relatively soon, I would say. And we have other games that we're playing right now that we are going to talk about. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sticking with us for another episode of Switch Talk 2. We'll see you soon.